Until a few days ago, I had never seen the original Hocus Pocus, but of course, this Halloween season, it is all about Hocus Pocus 2, the Disney Plus exclusive film. And so I watched both of them, and I'm going to review them for you right now. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free reviews for Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, the 1993 original, and the one that just dropped recently on Disney Plus, Hocus Pocus 2. I say no spoilers. We're really not going to talk spoilers for the second one. I may say something, about the first one, but I think at this point we've all pretty much seen it, right? I feel like I was one of the last people in my generation to never have seen that original Hocus Pocus film. But anyway, before we get to that stuff, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. There's tons of movie and TV reviews on the channel here. I would love it if you would consider subscribing down below there, or just comment. And I feel like this might be a video that gets people going with the comments. So please do so. Let me know what you think of one or both of these movies. So a little bit of background here, I guess, on my feelings about Hocus Pocus 1. Not necessarily my feelings yet, but why it took me so long to see it. And unlike some videos where I do like one movie, grade it, and then do the next movie, I'm just going to talk kind of about both movies at once and then grade them at the end. So stay with me until the end for those grades. But so first of all, Hocus Pocus came out in the summertime, July of 1993, and if you don't know, it was kind of a box office failure when it first came out, but it has become a cult hit since then, specifically around the early 2000s when it started airing a lot on the Disney Channel and ABC Family, which became Freeform, and now it is like a cornerstone of Freeform's Halloween programming. And DVD sales were just year over year were getting better and better and better and better. Back when, DVDs, were kind of driving the market before streaming took over. So this thing that was sort of a failure originally grew and grew and grew. So why did I never see it? Well, first of all, I grew up in a house where my father hated Bette Midler. And she, of course, is one of the stars of this movie. We'll talk about all the stars in a moment. But, he never liked her, always thought she was talentless. So I sort of, I was growing up in that house, so you sort of listened, oh, yeah, okay, she must stink, We didn't watch any Bette Midler movies when I was a kid. I think I did see Outrageous Fortune with her and Shelley Long at some point on cable a few years after it was out. But for me personally, I also really hated that song, Wind Beneath My Wings. That was like a huge hit in the late 80s. I think it might have been a #1 hit from her movie Beaches. So I went along with my dad. I was like, oh, yeah, this freaking no talent. She obviously could sing, but I just thought the song was so sappy and so bad. But then she did that stint on Seinfeld for a couple of episodes, and I thought, okay, well, she's kind of, poking fun at herself. This is sort of funny. And then later in life, I would say the last 15 or 20 years, I grew to really appreciate Bette Midler. I'd seen a few other of her movies and all of that. But yeah, in 1993, I really didn't think much of her at all. And the reason this was even released in July was because, if you don't know, Disney released Nightmare Before Christmas the same year, and they felt stronger about that and wanted to release that around Halloween because they have the one song, This Is Halloween. So I figured, okay, well, let's make that our big Halloween movie. Let's just push this Hocus Pocus till the summer, and, nobody will care. And really, nobody did care, because who wants to see a movie about witches during the summertime? If you asked a Hocus Pocus fan now, they would say, oh yeah, I watch it year round. But in terms of the other gals, I didn't really know Sarah Jessica Parker at all. I didn't know Square Pegs, her old TV show that was on when I was like 5. I knew she was married to Matthew Broderick at the time, but I didn't really start to appreciate her until Sex and the City. And then Kathy and Jimmy, I did watch her in Sister Act, which was, I think, also 93. I did the anniversary show on that recently, and so I think that was this year. Sister Act came out around the same time, so I knew who she was, but she wasn't enough of a draw for me to go see this movie. So I just never got around to it. And then the cult status sort of prevailed, and this movie's so great, and it got to the point where, in my mind, it was like, well, it can't possibly be as great as all of the people say it is, because I've been burned on that one before with other movies like Princess Bride and stuff. So all right, I just never gave it a go. But look, I gave it a fair shake before the second movie came out. So in both of these movies, you've got the Sanderson sisters at the helm, and we'll just go over that briefly because I think y'all probably know that already. But Bette Midler plays Winifred Sanderson, or Winnie. She is the eldest and the smartest by far. She loves to sing, and her big magical power is electrokinesis, but she also has a prized spell book, so she has a lot of dark arts knowledge as well from that. Then Sarah Jessica Parker plays Sarah Sanderson, who is the youngest. Her magical gift is a song that she sings, "Come Little Children," to kind of hypnotize kids. So they can sort of take them in and get their essence. And then Kathy Najimy plays Mary, who is the middle sister, and she has an enhanced sense of smell, and she can track the children with that. All right, so in the original movie, Hocus Pocus 1, you also have the lovely Thora Birch. She, I don't really see her pop up anymore. I don't know if she's out of the business completely or if I just am missing her, but I had a big crush on her in the late 90s when like American Beauty came out. Very, very cute, and she is a great part of this original one. She plays the little sister of sort of the main male character, played by Omri Katz. Max Dennison is his name. And then in both movies also, Doug Jones, by the way, plays Billy Butcherson, who was an ex-boyfriend from the 1600s, 1693 to be exact. And he had a relationship with Winnie, but that went sort of sour. She caught him cheating with her sister, and so she poisoned him, and he's been raised from the dead now a couple of different times. He's in both of the movies in that capacity. Also in the new movie, you've got Sam Richardson playing Gilbert, who is a magic shop owner. And you've got the two kids who resurrect the sisters in this one, Whitney Peak as Becca and Belissa Escobedo as Izzy. And you also have some small parts from Tony Hale and Hannah Waddingham. Hannah Waddingham, by the way, small role here. Love her from Ted Lasso, of course, but small role here. But I noticed that she was wearing a very similar outfit to what the Thora Birch character goes trick-or-treating in the first movie. So I don't think it's supposed to be the same character necessarily, but in fact, I'm almost positive it's not the same character, but I thought that was sort of a nice nod to that first movie. So, yeah, I mean, the sisters get resurrected, and, they run amok in the town, and there's the movie. I think that's really all we'll kind of get into for the plot, because, A, I don't want to spoil things for Hocus Pocus 2, but B, I know you guys watching, most of you are probably ravenous fans of that original, and if I get one little plot detail wrong, I'm going to hear about it. So we'll sort of stop the plot there and get more to the review side. So look, as expected, I thought the first movie was honestly not that good. A little bit of a hint for my grades at the end of the video, I think the second one is an improvement on the first one. For one thing, I don't find the sisters that funny. I know that's sort of the bit, like that's the gag. They're supposed to be hilarious together. And they're okay, but the performances, especially in the first movie, are so beyond over the top, beyond campy, and I think the rest of the movie around them just isn't quite as campy as the performances. And that definitely bothered me a little bit. I think of the three, I do like Winnie the best. Sarah is okay. And then the Kathy Najimy character, I really like Kathy Najimy, so I don't mean to slight her performance, but the choice that she made to constantly talk like this out the side of her mouth, it was so annoying to me in that first movie. I maybe I didn't mind it as much in the second movie because I thought the second movie was better. Also, maybe because I knew the characters a little bit better by then. The second movie also gives us some nice background. Again, not to go into spoiler territory, but like in the first scene or two, it takes place in 1693, so we kind of see everything that's going on with Billy Butcherson, and we see like what happened, a little bit of background on sort of all the main characters. I thought that was kind of nice, because we didn't get really a lot of that in the first movie. We got sort of the townspeople's perspective, and here's the lore of the Sanderson sisters. But I thought it was a nice touch to actually see that in action in the second one. But look, they're okay. But I just I just didn't think they were that funny, unfortunately. And I know that that's sort of the big draw of these movies. For me, the best performance in the first movie by far is Thora Birch. I thought she was fantastic. And in the second movie, I will say it's probably Bette Midler. So I'll give it to her for that. But the other thing that it's kind of off-putting to me for both movies is that they find a way to shoehorn in a number. Like, oh, okay, we get it. Bette Midler loves to sing and the character loves to sing. But in each movie, they do a big show-stopping number, but the movies aren't musicals. So it's like, it's so out of place. And look, I always say this in movies and TV shows. Whenever there's like a karaoke scene, there are very few that I think are done well. It's just such an old, kind of tried and true trope. And, they're not necessarily doing karaoke, I guess. It's not like they're going to a karaoke bar and singing, but, they go to like a bar or whatever where there's a band playing and they get up and do a number. And it's like, all right, it was kind of too much the first movie, and then they did it again in the second movie. So whatever. But I will say about the second movie, I actually thought that there were some emotional moments that landed towards the end of that film. I won't say what happens, but I thought the emotional notes were right on. I appreciated them. The first one, I didn't really find anything like that. And the other thing is, I think because the first one was such a cult hit, the second one was able to lean a little bit more into, okay, this is what the fans of these movies liked about the movie, so let's lean in a little bit more to sort of the campy nature of it. Whereas the first one, the sisters are definitely campy and over the top, but I'm not sure that anything else around them was. And I also think the acting on the whole is better in the second movie, not just from the sisters, but, you've got Sam Richardson, you've got, Tony Hale, and some real pro actors, especially the kid actors in the first one, not great. Except for Thora Birch, Also, the whole virgin thing, they really, really went heavy on that first movie with the virgin subplot sort of thing. And it was a little bit like bordering on creepy that, like, all right, can we stop having a PG movie about this kid's sex life, I mean, it gets broached again in the second one, but not nearly as much of a major plot point as that. So in terms of the scares, I think for a PG movie around Halloween, I think they're right on in both movies, really. It's not too, like, creepy, frightening. Like, there's some PG movies like Coraline, for example, that I think for sure should be PG-13. Like, they're so freaky and creepy. This is definitely not quite to that level, but I could see it freaking out, younger kids, maybe, 6 or 7 or something. But anyway, so look, I guess I've talked enough about it. I think you're going to give me enough hate in the comments for not loving that first movie. Here's what I will say before I give my grades. I think if you love that first movie, you're going to love the second movie. I think they've done, from a critical standpoint, like how I look at it, the second movie is better. I think probably huge fans of the first one are never going to think anything is better than that, in this universe. So probably my guess would be if the first one's like an A or an A plus for you, which I think is a bit much, but whatever, personal taste. Then the second one's maybe like an A or an A minus. Like, I think it might be one step down because of that love and affection for the first movie. For me, though, the original Hocus Pocus, 1993, gets a C minus. And I'm going to give Hocus Pocus 2 a whole letter grade above that. That gets a B minus from me. Also, I thought it was weird they didn't place it in 2023, because that would be an even 30 years, because we did 300 years from, when they went away to 1993. I thought it would have been nice to kind of do a full 30 years instead of 29, but whatever. They placed it in real time, 2022. So, all right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.